Deep within a mysterious jungle where the leaves rustled ancient secrets and the vines formed hidden pathways, there existed a miniature civilization of tiny yet spirited people known as the Moko. Their stature might have been diminutive, no taller than your thumb, but their hearts were as vast as the jungle itself, filled with curiosity, courage, and an unquenchable thirst for adventure. Their homes were intricately woven huts, nestled under giant ferns, crafted from fibers as thin as spider silk, yet as durable as any fortress. They rode the iridescent wings of dragonflies as if they were steeds, guiding them through the air with reins made from flower vines. Their days were spent in the pursuit of juicy berries the size of marbles, and nights were illuminated by fireflies that served as their twinkling lights. Yet the true essence of this mystical jungle wasn't found in their quaint dwellings, their whimsical modes of transport, or even their gargantuan berries. It resided in the heart of the wilderness. In a clearing bathed in eternal sunlight stood a gigantic monkey. His fur was the color of rich mahogany. His eyes shone like golden lanterns, and his grin was as wide as the sky. This was Moko, a gorilla of colossal proportions. He was so immense that he could effortlessly pluck 10 men in a single hand, and his mighty sneeze could topple a full-grown tree. But despite his intimidating stature, he possessed a heart as gentle as the morning dew. Moko had stumbled upon the minifolk when he was merely a young ape, seeking his mother who had gone missing deep within the foliage. He had discovered their minuscule village, which was concealed beneath a gargantuan leaf while searching for food. In a moment of truth, instead of crushing them under his immense paws, he had decided to offer them a giant mango, patiently waiting for them to emerge from their hiding places. The Minili were petrified when they first encountered Moko. Their bravest warriors were no taller than his knee, and the most potent weapons seemed comically tiny in his presence. Elder Topo, their wise leader, had attempted to rally his troops, urging them to defend their homeland. He had even brandished his toothpick spear at Moko, challenging him with a fierce, "Who are you and what brings you to our humble abode?" Moko, taken aback by the sight of such courageous tiny figures, had merely blinked in surprise before letting out a booming laugh that echoed through the trees. Realizing that these tiny beings meant him no harm, Elder Topo cautiously approached Moko, extending a hand in truce. "If you seek sustenance, oh, mighty giant, our stores may be meager, but they are yours to share." Moved by the tiny folks' hospitality, Moko had pledged to become their protector, forming a bond that transcended their differences in size. Years flew by like dragonflies in the boundless blue. Moko had shielded the Minili from territorial wasps, guided lost firefly lovers back to their colonies, and rescued the littlest ones who had strayed too close to the river S. But the jungle, much like life, wasn't just about sunshine and rainbow. There were shadows lurking in its depths, dangers that tested the mettle of even the mightiest creatures. And so it was on one particularly gloomy afternoon, when the sky turned the color of a bruised plum and heavy drops of rain pounded on the broad leaves above, that Moko's heroism would be put to the ultimate test. From the darkest recesses of the jungle came a creature as menacing as its Gorax, a giant warthog with tusks like curved scimitars and eyes that glinted with primal rage. Gorax was a force of nature, driven by insatiable hunger and an inherent cruelty that knew no bounds. When the Minili scouts had brought news of Gorax's approach, panic had gripped their tiny settlement. Elder Topu, his face etched with worry, had sounded the alarm. Gorax approaches, his heart filled with malice and his belly with hunger. Only the mightiest of hearts can stand against him. Who will be our champion? A hush had fallen over the assembly as each man looked at his neighbor, knowing that the fate of their people rested on the decision before them. As the minutes ticked by, each one heavier than the last, a tiny hand had shot up from the crowd. All eyes turned towards Nolly, the youngest member of their tribe, known more for her curiosity than her bravery. "I will face him," she declared, her voice ringing with unexpected strength. Before anyone could voice their dissent, Nolly had vanished into the thick foliage, disappearing into the labyrinthine paths of the jungle. Upon hearing this, Moko, who was resting in his favorite fig tree, had sprung into action. He had rushed to the village, his massive frame crashing through the undergrowth like a wrecking ball. Upon witnessing the terror etched on the faces of the Manali, he had instantly understood. Without a word, he had charged into the heart of the jungle, his every step shaking the very foundations of the forest floor. In the meantime, Nolly had emerged from the thicket, her eyes shining with determination. Standing before the charging warthog, she appeared as tiny and insignificant as a dewdrop on a blade of grass. But as Gorax drew closer, she had raised her head, her gaze unwavering. "Halt, vile beast!" she commanded, her voice echoing with surprising authority. "Do you truly believe that our differences in size justify your arrogance? Do you think that just because we are small, you can treat us with disdain?" As Gorax continued his relentless charge, Nolly remained rooted to the spot, her spirit unbroken. She knew that she couldn't defeat the warthog in a physical confrontation, but she had something far more potent, the collective spirit of her people, the indomitable will of the men. Just as Gorax loomed over her, ready to deliver the final blow, Moko had burst onto the scene. With a thundering roar, he launched himself at Gorax, slamming into the warthog with the force of a battering ram. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground, causing rocks and debris to fly in all directions. But amidst the chaos, Nolly had scrambled to her feet, her heart pounding in her chest. She watched as Moko grappled with the monstrous warthog, each of his blows echoing with the strength of a mighty earthquake. But Gorax, despite his immense size and power, wasn't going down without a fight. He snarled and lashed out with tusks that could easily pierce the thickest of hides. Yet Moko, with his agility and experience, managed to dodge these attacks with surprising ease. The clearing quickly turned into a chaotic battleground, a whirlwind of fur, tusks, and earth. However, Moko, despite his imposing size, was at a disadvantage. Gorax's thick hide was almost impervious to his attacks, and the warthog's sheer strength threatened to overpower him. As the battle raged on, Moko started to tire, his breaths becoming heavier with each passing moment. He needed a plan, something to tip the scales in his favor. And then he saw it, a large patch of thorny vines growing near the edge of the clearing. An idea sparked in his mind, a risky move, but perhaps their only chance. With a mighty roar, Moko broke free from Gorax's grasp and lumbered towards the thorny vines. The warthog, sensing victory, charged forward, only to be ensnared by the dense thicket. Tusks and all, Gorax thrashed and squealed in frustration as he found himself entangled in the thorny mess. Seizing the opportunity, Moko dashed towards the warthog, grabbed a fistful of vines and tied them securely around Gorax's tusks, effectively immobilizing the beast. The clearing fell silent except for Gorax's enraged grunts and the sound of Moko's heavy breathing. With the battle won, Moko turned to the gathered Manali, his expression filled with concern. Despite their diminutive size, their courage had shone brightly, reminding him of the strength that resided in unity and determination. That evening, after tending to the minor injuries sustained during the battle, the Manali honored both Nolly and Moko. Nolly was praised for her bravery and strategic thinking, and Moko for his strength and unwavering commitment to their protection. Together, they had faced a formidable foe and emerged victorious, their bond unbreakable. As the jungle settled into the night, lulled by the symphony of crickets and the soft rustle of leaves, the Manali retreated to their cozy homes, their hearts brimming with gratitude for their hero. Moko, under the canopy of stars, felt a profound sense of contentment. He wasn't just a mighty gorilla in the jungle. He was a guardian, a friend, a protector of the extraordinary Moko.